In today's video we review Asiana Airlines in business class on their A330, spend a few hours aircraft spotting and relaxing in the business class lounge, are surprised by the outdated seats on board and received the most rushed meal service I've ever experienced, but enjoy watching Monique slide down her somewhat lie-flat bed. Join us as we fly Seoul to Almaty, Kazakhstan. Well, hello from Seoul's Incheon Airport. Today we're flying Asiana in their A330 in business class to Almaty, Kazakhstan.
We're actually flying to Istanbul via Almaty, Kazakhstan.
That's true.
But Ewan didn't tell me we were doing this because the last time we had a layover, it was supposed to be only 24 hours, and I said, no, I think we need more time there. And that was in Ulaanbaatar.
In Mongolia. So
Mongolia,
instead of 24 hours,
it was 5 days.
5 days. So I've now decided I'm not going to tell her that we have layovers because they're becoming a whole lot more expensive and a whole lot longer.
That cheap airfare became quite an expensive layover.
Did. But 38 years of marriage, I just learnt that once I was in the position to comply. I just now avoid putting myself in the position. So we're going to try...
In the position or in that position?
That's a whole new subject, and that is not what this video is about. I'm sorry. Listen, we're flying Asiana, the A330 in business class to Almaty, Kazakhstan, and we're staying there overnight, and we're actually leaving the airport, and we're going to stay in
some pods.
So that should be fun, so we'll include that in the video. Right, but we're about to experience Asiana's renowned business class. Big news. I only just heard today that Korean Airlines has bought Asiana. Newsflash.
They're part of SkyTeam, so
Asiana will fall out of Star Alliance, join SkyTeam, and SkyTeam will continue in its pursuit of becoming the world's largest frequent flyer program, which is a little alarming. Anyway, so we're going to try Asiana while that's still part of Star Alliance. It's in business class. It should be fun. Are you going to try all the wines tonight?
I'll try some. It's only 6 hours. I can't get through all the ones in 6 hours.
I'll roll you off the plane, put you in a pod, because the pods don't come in doubles. So you're in your own pod.
Right. People are going to get the wrong impression of it. They're all going to think
there'll be no issues of discussions of positions if you're in your own pod. Okay, right. So enjoy this flight. It should be fun. We'll experience Asiana. So we've just had a quick look around the business class. That's following now. Enjoy the video. I quite like how the Asiana logo disappears as you start to reach to the top of the lounge. Now, Asiana was founded in 1988. It services 78 destinations and operates a fleet of 80 aircraft. The lounge itself was average. I found sort of a cafeteria vibe, although it had a really good salad selection. And people kept interrupting my filming, or maybe I was interrupting them. There were 2 soups, 3 hot dishes, in fact 4. There was the pasta, there was a vegetable stir-fry, a chicken vegetable stir-fry, and then there were chicken nuggets, soft drinks, coffee, some wedges, had a couple of bowls of those, water, some orange juice and apple juice, a second coffee station. It had some syrups, which I enjoyed adding to my coffee, and a large selection of Asian noodles, sort of what you'd expect from an Asian carrier. Now the sitting area was nice. It was open, lots of areas to sit and enjoy the multiple aircraft movements. At the other end of the lounge there was a good bar with full selection. In addition to the comfortable seating, the Wi-Fi was good. There were nice clean showers, and lots of recharging ports for both cell phones and laptops. Seoul's Incheon airport is quite busy, and I thoroughly enjoyed sipping on a beer for a couple of hours watching aircraft arrive and depart. Now obviously both Korean and Asiana dominated the aircraft movements, but there were a number of other international carriers coming and going. Now remember, Incheon is Seoul's second airport. Gimpo airport's closer to the city, mostly used for domestic flights. Incheon for international. Really enjoyed watching this 777 depart for Hong Kong. It is a spectacular aircraft. I think to Monique's great relief, it was nearly time to board. She had had enough of watching aeroplanes come and go. Now tell me, other couples, tell me whether or not as a couple you would often split up at an airport and one go sort of duty-free shopping and another you'd prefer to sit and just relax in the lounge and watch aeroplanes. Tell me if you do that, because Monique and I do. She usually gives up the lounge after an hour or so and goes wandering. Anyway, we're ready to board. Priority boarding for business class passengers. It wasn't long and we were heading for the gangway. I always enjoy following Monique in the boarding process. I'm always waiting for her to do her little happy dance, which she usually always does when getting on a plane, but she didn't do it on this particular flight. Anyway, I enjoyed the escalator ride down. It gave us a great view of the A380, this 14-and-a-half-year-old aeroplane that is going to wing us to Almaty in Kazakhstan. A very warm welcome from the Asiana crew. And we were on board. My immediate impression of the cabin was it's dated, and I think it's the colour of Asiana's cabin, the sort of drab brown with a sort of a very dull yellow. I love yellow as a colour, but it's so dull. Monique was just warning me the champagne was behind me, but quickly there was a blanket, headphones, slippers, a good pillow. The controls for the seat sort of looks out of NASA, but it's very dated. Good PowerPoint for the noise cancelling headphones, the old remote, this sort of light. You can see it's an outdated cabin, and it's not the full lie flat, it's the angle bed. Cheers. But it's wonderful to be on board. Before we know it, the demonstration video is playing and we're about to push back. It's a rainy day. I'm letting you enjoy the takeoff roll. Bit of a flashback to the old days using this remote control. Ads were playing constantly on the IFE, which was a little annoying, but the in-flight information was available. I started to try to navigate my way through. It's very clumsy and slow, but eventually I found an okay selection of movies. And it was relatively easy to navigate your way through. It was broken into categories, and so I finally found something to watch. It certainly isn't user-friendly, but I think that's simply a reflection of the age of the equipment. I'm not going to win any fashion prizes with the slippers, but they were comfortable. Good PowerPoints, one on each side, little tray. I've noticed the cabin noise was quite loud. The headphones were quite good. I certainly am missing the 787 A350 cabin. Well, we've just been served our menu for this evening's flight. It's a 6-hour flight, so they have one meal service with some refreshments mid-flight. And they offer both Western and Korean style. I've decided not to go with the Korean option, although that looked relatively nice. It's a Korean staple, the sambap, which is basically sliced, thinly sliced beef, and then you add a tomato paste and other condiments on a piece of lettuce. Or the Western option, which was basically either beef or the chicken curry, and I've gone with the beef. We started our evening with a Malbec for Monique, and I had a brandy and ginger ale and the obligatory nuts. The tray was beautifully presented, and so we both had the bocconini and tomato salad pesto as an appetizer. It was all on a single tray. There was a nice little olive oil addition. You can see already the turbulence shaking the water glass. Turbulence dominated the flight. The beef was not overly tender, but quite pleasant. There was no Kiwi Sauv Blanc, so I went with an Australian. The cheese platter was lovely, went with a lovely port. Had to have the ice cream, and I decided to add the Baileys with the ice cream. Now, initially I was really frustrated at the speed of which the food just kept coming out, but I then realised that the crew had been receiving reports from other aircraft about the turbulence, and they were just trying to get the meal service completed safely.
They're not lie flat, but they're on an angle.
Thoroughly entertained watching Monique slide down her seat. Now, time for a loo review. The turbulence stopped just long enough for me to be able to complete this. Pretty standard A330 toilet. There's some mouthwash, toothpaste and a toothbrush, really lovely hand cream. Now, the crew didn't give us any amenity kits. There were no pajamas. And the bathroom's pretty much a standard A330 bathroom. Now, I'll film the cabin on the way back. Some people did manage to fall off to sleep in their angle lie flat bed. There wasn't many people in business class. I counted 5. Now, would I fly Asiana Airlines again? Probably not. Look, the crew were friendly, the food was all right, but the cabin was outdated, and the colours are drab. Look, they just didn't float my boat. Now, we've arrived in Almaty, Kazakhstan. Now, we have 9 hours here, and I've already realised I've made a mistake. Look, I booked a pod via booking.com, and of course it sold me the pod on the basis of a 24-hour stay, and so when I arrived at the pod I realised I could have simply booked 6 hours and saved a considerable amount of money. So, mistake, I won't make that again. But the pods are fine, there's Wi-Fi, there is a shower, there is nowhere to store your big bag, so you run the risk that somebody nicks it. That's a little frustrating. I put my carry-on with our valuables in the pod. The pod is clean, the sheets were good, the pillow was good, there's air conditioning, there's a light, there's a safety deposit box. You sorted in there? Please subscribe and press the notification button. A new video out soon.